And we start with number one Georgia at South Carolina. The Dogs laying 24.5 points. Bulldogs are minus 300 on the money line. The Gamecocks plus 1,200. Total set at 51.5. Chelsea, I'll start with you. Are you laying this big number with Georgia?
I think if you could make a case for anybody laying a huge number, it would probably be Georgia, just because I've gone it against them before. I took Oregon against the number against Georgia, and we all saw how that turned out. So when you're going against a quarterback like, who is it, Spencer Rattler? Is he the quarterback for South Carolina?
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, like the interception machine. Yeah, no thank you against that Georgia defense. I think that's your main problem is you are looking at this Georgia defense who I know everybody thought was going to be rebuilding, but they just reloaded. They look amazing once again. And I think that's going to be an issue against a quarterback that's very turnover prone. So I don't think it's even on the offense of Georgia, which Stetson Bennett continues to be underrated. Was he 14-1 to win the Heisman despite being just about flawless in both games this season? So I think if there is ever a case to lay a big number, it's probably with Georgia.
Double D, you laying it?
Absolutely. Spencer Rattler has looked nothing but horrible so far for South Carolina. Georgia's defense, like Chelsea said, has reloaded, has not rebuilt, and they actually may look faster than they did last year, which to me is scurry. Very, very scurry.
I would lay it as well. Spencer Rattler has not been that guy at South Carolina. And last week at Arkansas, I mean, you talk about crushing injuries. South Carolina lost two of their starting linebackers, Jordan Strachan and Mo Kaba, both out with season-ending ACL. So that South Carolina defense is going to be even weaker. In College Station, number 13 Miami is visiting Texas A&M, still hanging on at number 24. The Aggies are favorites. Coming off that loss to App State, laying 5.5 points. Ags are minus 225 on the money line. The Canes plus 180 in the total set at 48 and a hook. You talk about lines that look like a trap, and I see all of the money coming in. Everyone's piling on Miami. I don't care if it's a square side. I'm on the Canes.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that, right? And I think in college football, there is a lot of overreaction, and I think maybe this is one of those spots. Maybe Texas A&M comes out and actually looks good in this game. Miami is a team I have trouble trusting because doesn't it seem like one of those programs that routinely gets more credit than they deserve because of their past successes? People are like, oh, it's the U. They're amazing. They have such a great talent pool to draw from when it comes to recruiting. But I don't know. Like they haven't really played any opponents this year, I believe, that, really prove that they belong to be the number 13 team in the nation. So this is going to be a big, measuring stick game. Go ahead and cross that one off your bingo card, college football fans. So I don't know. I think I would lean towards the points, but I am not so sure because doesn't it look like a trap?
It does. Double D, you taking the bait here, or are you going with A&M?
Oh, I'm totally taking the bait. Did you watch Texas A&M against Appalachian State? They have no... What do we always say about college football? It comes down to your marquee quarterback. Texas A&M decided on going with the freshman instead of the transfer in Max Johnson, which I think was a huge mistake. And here's the difference between Miami now and in the past. Miami has a legitimate top 10 NFL prospect quarterback in Van Dyke. I think Miami completely goes into College Station and rakes. I think this may even be a blowout.
I don't disagree here. I understand why people are on Miami. Texas A&M has a ton of talent, but they have some serious culture issues. You mentioned the whole Haynes King, Max Johnson thing. Jimbo Fisher is being questioned about whether he's still going to call plays. This was a tweet from Aggie Sports on Twitter. Damani Richardson, one of their players, was asked about getting players to buy in, and he said, well, first, we got to put App State behind us. Secondly, I have to hold more guys accountable. Going to class, being at meetings every day, the small things. I mean, dudes aren't going to meetings. They have a serious issue down there in College Station, and Jimbo Fisher has his work cut out. Coming up in 10 minutes, Toronto and Tampa Bay continue their 5-game series in the AL East. We're going to take you in the rotation. This is a daily tip from BetQL, presented by BetMGM. She's Chelsea Messenger. I'm Michael Jenkins. We have Double D along as well. We're talking week 3 lines of college football. Let's go to Lincoln. Number 6, Oklahoma taking on Nebraska, which just fired Scott Frost. The Sooners are laying 11.5 points. Sooners minus 450 on the money line. Huskers plus 340. Total set at 64 and a hook, Chelsea. This screams Oklahoma because Nebraska is without a head coach. Maybe they're rejuvenated because Scott Frost is gone. But at least for me, I will probably not play this game. There's just no way I can make a case for grabbing the points in the Huskers here.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this line 13.5 just a couple days ago? It's gone down to 11.5. What the hell's going on?
I don't know. This is another one of those trapped lines.
But didn't we talk about the line on this game? Because I think the discussion we were having was they call it the dead cat bounce in college basketball and other sports, where when you fire a coach, sometimes there's this just like initial jump where teams actually play better in the first game without their head coach. Like maybe that's what people are saying here. And it's just sharp bettors maybe seeing that there's going to be an overreaction and people saying, oh, well, they fired Scott Frost. Well, here's a news flash. Scott Frost was not a good head coach. That's why he got fired before the calendar even turned to fall. So maybe we're overreacting here, but still, I have not seen anything from Nebraska that makes me want to put my hard-earned money on them covering a number.
Double D, you gonna bet this game? You're gonna take the opposite side here and say the Huskers are gonna get it done without Scott Frost and cover 11.5?
This is one of those games that I'm absolutely staying away from. And there's one reason and one reason only. Nebraska, for some reason, no matter what their record is, when they play Oklahoma extremely tough. I don't necessarily believe in the talent of that defense. Yeah. If I had to play it, I probably would lean Oklahoma just because of the quarterback. Gabriel's real deal, something special. So if I had to play it, it'd be Oklahoma, but I'm staying away.
Well, people forget, but it is an old Big 8 school rivalry. So there is something there when you look at these two teams going back over time. Double D, I didn't forget. Number 22, Penn State at Auburn. Nittany Lions laying 3 points. Nittany Lions are minus 150 on the money line. Tigers are plus 125. Total set at 49 and a hook. I cannot get a gauge on this game. So, Double D, I'm going to start with you. The Nittany Lions are your team. What's going to happen?
This is a really tough one for me, too, because Auburn really hasn't played anybody. Absolutely has not played anybody of any significance. And I think Penn State has actually played a very quality and good Purdue team that could end up winning the Big Ten West. So I'm going to lean with Penn State, but I don't know if they cover that minus 3.5. It's going to be a close game because it is in Auburn.
Chelsea, do you have an opinion, or do you want to give in some thoughts here on NC State, which is hosting Texas Tech?
Well, I have no desire to bet on Auburn against Penn State because I made the mistake of doing that back when Bo Nix was the quarterback, and I still have mental scars from them not covering that number. Looking to my NC State Wolfpack, this is a tough one. Laying 10.5 against Texas Tech? I don't think so. I don't think I would want to lay the 10.5 with NC State just because I think that's a big number. I think NC State is fully capable of putting up the offense needed to cover this number, but we've seen it when they're playing in games that are actually close and actually with competition that's not terrible. They're not good at covering numbers.